Hey guys, so I'm going to talk briefly about the History Channel, how it's kind of changed, and whether I think it's a good thing or not. Now, you might be asking Sean why your hair wet. I took a shower. You might also be asking Sean why you're talking about the History Channel. No one watches it. And the simple answer is, yeah, I guess that's pretty much true, but I do on occasion, so I'm going to talk about it. The History Channel, if you don't know, is a channel that has been on television for quite a while, actually, for a channel. It used to, back in the, I'd say, early to mid-thousands and probably in the 90s, I don't know. It kind of was it was a major documentary kind of channel. They basically had documentaries about Hitler. A lot of people, I remember we used to just call it the Hitler Channel. Why? Because every time you turned it on, it was talking about Hitler. Hitler stoned, Hitler at Stalingrad, Hitler doing this, Hitler doing that. It was like Hitler obsessed. Now, the simple reason why they talk about Hitler is because Hitler was very instrumental in World War II, as you all know probably. And, World War II is like the one war everybody kind of agrees on. Everybody says, the Nazis are probably pretty bad motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? People don't disagree with that usually. And the people that do, they're a little crazy, but that's beyond the point. I don't want to get into that. But the point is that it was kind of something that everybody could agree on, so they made a lot of documentaries about it. And that became kind of what the channel was. They do a few other documentaries too. They do histories, mysteries that dealt with different concepts, different ideas. They throw up Greek specials, they throw up Roman specials. It varied a little bit. But mostly their bread and butter was the Nazi and World War II documentaries. They dealt with Japan too. I don't want to overemphasize Hitler, but I don't know what the actual math is, but they seem to have spent a lot of time on that. Now, eventually, like I think everybody, I got kind of tired of watching documentaries on, Normandy and stuff. It just gets tiresome, and they landed on Omaha. Wow, big surprise. I knew that they landed on Omaha because I checked out the last documentary that was on like 20 minutes ago. So, you kind of they ran out of information to tell you. So, that was primarily the problem that they had because, I did not think that it was a bad channel. I thought the documentaries were relatively boring, but at least you were trying to learn something. You know what I mean? And every once in a while I felt like trying to learn something on TV, so I'd watch it. I can't speak for anybody else, I don't know. But anyway, I got sick of it because it just kept dealing with the same thing, so I kind of stopped watching the History Channel. Now eventually, I think enough people did that they were like, oh fuck, we are fucked, we need to change the channel. So what did they do? They basically switched over to kind of a more simplistic format. A lot cheaper because, well, I guess I'll get to that. The format is basically it was modern history, I think they called it, or something equivalent, where they basically take you into somebody else's job and they'd have a camera crew there and they'd film it and then they would, edit it and then they basically send it out. That was like the whole process. As far as I know, I don't know a lot about the television industry. But as far as I can tell, that's basically what they did. Now, what does this mean? Well, it's a lot cheaper than a documentary. A documentary, you gotta buy those film things, man. You gotta throw down cash. Even if you buy it like for a lifetime, you gotta pay royalties on all this bullshit. It's expensive. Not to mention you gotta get that one voiceover guy that's always like, and then Hitler would have had a tough decision. You gotta get a lot of stuff going, man. Not to mention you gotta hire some, experts and shit to talk about, well, the Tiger tank had a hard time in mud. You had to get all these people. And not to mention they almost always had, like, actors that did a really shitty job. But I'm getting off topic. The point is that it was a lot cheaper. And it's a lot cheaper just to hire the cameraman and an editing team than everything else. So basically they did these shows where they only needed that, and that is, they just follow these guys around at their job with a camera, and then they try to cut and paste it and make drama so people get attracted to it, kind of. And it's a very successful model, we all know it, you can see it on almost any channel. And it's cheap, it's easy, it's fun, and everybody has a good time. However, it is not what the History Channel was. So this pissed off a lot of people, as you would think. Of course, most of these people were fairly old, I guess, from what I understand about the demographics. I don't know a lot about them, but I think that their main demographic were older gentlemen, and most of them were kind of old and, you know, they forgot, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, the point is that the channel was changing demographics, and this pisses off a lot of people. And a lot of people complained on it. Not as many on YouTube, but, you know, they wrote editorials and shit, and, you know, quite a few people got angry from what I understand. Now, having said that, do I think it's a bad thing that they changed the channel's demographic aim? No, I don't. I think that, you know, I miss the documentaries every once in a while, but to be honest, it had saturated the market. If they would have added a little bit of this and a little bit of the, you know, history thing, they could have kept making documentaries continuously forever, basically. But instead, they went to solid documentaries. Everybody got tired of that structure, and they got fucked, basically. Now, when I say their news shows, what am I talking about? I'm talking about Pawn Stars. I'm talking about Axemen. I'm talking about Swamp People. You know, there's a whole lot of these little shows. You know, Ice Road Truckers. Yeah, whatever they initialize it. Anyway, you know, they have all these shows. Now, are they bad shows? They're mediocre. They're not very interesting, really, if you think about it. I mean, basically, you're watching a guy drive on ice, you know, which is kind of interesting because you know, you learn what it's about. But, you know, it's like on season 4 or 5. I mean, and it's just kind of a boring show now, you know. Axemen, I guess, is interesting. You know, they play up the drama between the two groups and individuals. It's kind of, in that way, I'm not into the drama aspect of it, but I think that it's an adequate show. I understand a lot of people are into that, and so I can understand why it exists. Now, do I think that that's real history? No, don't lie to yourself, man. That's you know, that's every other show. That's, you know, Big Brother's House or whatever, that show that's still going on, or The Amazing Race and stuff. I mean, you know, it's basically that, only they follow people around at their work. Don't lie to yourself. Now, do I think that it's bad that they're doing that? No. It's mundane, you know. They needed to get out of the history documentary making business because nobody was watching them. So they switched over to what everybody else was doing. Now, was it original? No. But is it understandable? Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to get across, is I understand they made this decision. Do I think it's bad? Not really. I don't. I like some of the documentaries. I kind of wish that they would have gone more into modern warfare. You know, do Vietnam or do Korea, kind of like you did World War II. But I understand why they didn't. There's a lot more conflict over those wars. And that, you know, I guess I'm just going on and on about it. But, yeah, so if you think that they shouldn't have changed, and they should continue to make World War II documentaries, just tell me about it. Write it down below. If you think that this is the greatest change ever, and Axemen, you know, is your hero, and you're going to go, you know, get an axe and go to it. Man, I you know, before I dropped the Axemen thing, what's weird about it is I drove by one of their, like, you know, one of their sites, man. I mean, it's crazy. It's like, you know, where I live, it's like, literally, it's like going into your backyard. You know, you go for a half-hour drive, you're like there, you know, and you know, so it's a weird show for me because, you know, I'm seeing people do this like every day, and then people thought it was a badass concept, so they made it into a show. It's a weird, you know. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. So yeah, I guess that's it. I know this is probably the worst video I've ever made. You know, here I am talking about the History Channel. I'm sure everybody's probably fallen asleep, or they're, you know, typing up how I insulted their favorite show. So yeah, if you like what the Axemen show or any of the other shows that I mentioned, or some that I didn't mention, just write it down. I'd like to hear about it. I know this is what, like, everybody says, but honestly I would with the History Channel thing. Anyway, subscribe. I guess that's it. Have a great day. Bye.